bottom brace is a bit gunky and dirty, but it's got nothing wrong with it. If I could just clean that off a bit. I think I'm going to turn the bike around the right way. You know, before I started this, I thought I'll just tape that in. I lost one bearing. There we go. I lost 4 in a clump. I'll just tape that in so it doesn't come out. There you go, that's the 2-minute rule. And again, forget what you're doing. Now, tape it in place, you goose. Yeah, check it out. Stands up. Yeah. Nut and dust cover. This is going to look shit hot. I'll put bearings in the top, I'll put the dust cover and nut on. Now I've just got this to go. And then the forks and then the front wheel. And then what? Back to wondering what I'll do. Wondering what I should do next. Looking at the other bike over there and this one, there's not a lot makes up a motorcycle, is there? Even less if it was an electric motorcycle. I've got a dirt bike and my son keeps nagging me to buy another dirt bike, and I keep nearly getting sucked into it, but I keep saying when they have decent electric dirt bikes, I'll get one of them. which I think is probably only 4 or 5 years away. Okay, so I've been playing with the front of the bike a little bit. You can probably see I've put indicators on, put a front mudguard on, and I'm going to start playing around with the instruments. I've never really liked the look of the instrument cluster on the old CX500, especially this one yellow. I think that's what contributes to their reputation of being a really ugly bike. That's the original instrument cluster, like that, and it sort of sits on the bike like that, with that stupid thing at the front. So I'm going to try and pare it down a little bit. And I've started on that, and I basically cut away that outer section, and that's the first process. I've still got to glue it into place onto that a little bit better. Somehow stick it with probably something. Looking at a bracket. I'm going to buy a new LED headlight. One of the things I am going to spend some money on with this thing. But it'll come, the one I'll sort of think, I want one that's roughly a similar size to that. And so I'm not going to use that, with its own backing and chrome cowl. So I don't want to spend a lot of money. You can on new instruments and trimming it down, but I do want to cut a lot of the fat out of the front end and make it look more better looking. So I'm going to cut this up and use part of this back and part of that section there, just as I think it's relatively strong. It's about 4mm thick fiberglass or something, and just use that to mount the instrument cluster. I'll paint that black, instrument cluster onto there. Then I'll put a headlight in there, mount that somehow, and then I'll buy an aftermarket little fairing that sits up, a clear fairing that sits up there like that. So first of all I'm going to mark this and then cut it up, and I'll get back here with the progress. So I've finished cutting out the cowl, the fairing cowl, which basically has a big hole on it. There, I used angle grinder to cut the bulk of it out, and then I've trimmed it up finely with a jigsaw, and then I just got a file out. So that's becomes a sort of a backing plate, which is the original template out of the back of the cowl for the instrument cluster, mounted off the indicator lenses bracket, and then I trimmed up the surround of the of the old unit. So looks a little bit not as fat and ugly. Still not beautiful, but it's not as fat and ugly as the original monstrosity that was there. Trimmed it up a bit. So the goal now is to have like a clear fairing that comes up to there with a round headlight, LED headlight there. I'll paint everything in here black, and then I'll hide all this in cable conduits, and it should look a heap better. Okay, I've just come up with a better idea. I'm going to change this with a bit of folded aluminium plate, and I'm going to get the aluminium plate to come down the front of the tubes here so that I can hide this wiring and attach the wiring to the back of the aluminium plate. It'll also give me something to, I'll just design little brackets to mount the headlight that'll attach to that aluminium plate that I've got sitting there. So I think that'll work. Just going to make up a template for the aluminium plate and everything. Pop rivet it together. I'm going to use a bit of guttering to make the template because it's the only bit of metal I've got floating around, and then I'm going to take it to a local sheet metal worker and get him to make something up.